That was an excellent first time, and may this be the start of many more, Mr. Hoskote. I think your research was like this golden thread that ran through different religions. And I'm reminded of the analogy that is given that we need to worship the sun in its entirety. If we just focus on the point of dawn and we just become worshippers of the dawn, then you miss the other stages of the sun's movement. But if you step back and you see the entire movement from dawn to noon to dusk, then you are a worshipper of the sun itself and not just one particular phase of its evolution. Thank you, Mr. Hoskote. My next speaker, Mr. Abu Sayem, is an assistant professor with the Department of World Religion and Culture at the University of Dhaka in Bangladesh. And I'm particularly pleased with him because yesterday when we were talking during the tea break, he assured me, he said, don't worry. He said, not only will I be on time, but he said, I will finish before time. So this will be some sort of record-breaking panel discussion.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the most merciful and most gracious. Honorable Chairperson of this session, eminent speakers, dignified guests from home and abroad, respectable teachers, dear sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace and mercy of Almighty God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be upon all of you, and good afternoon to everyone. I'm really grateful and thankful to Mr. Jagadish Gandhi and his family, and especially to Ms. Archana Pandey for their kindly invitation to me to be here in this conference. Anyway, my presentation paper is on some pertinent rules and preconditions for a meaningful interfaith dialogue. Dear audience, first of all, let us clear what is meant by a dialogue. Simply, we understand by the term dialogue that it is a conversation between two or more persons with differing views. We can enter into any dialogue so that we can learn many things from one another through sharing our views on different issues. For our kind information that dialogue is not a debate in which one party wants to win over another party. Rather, it is a noble conversation in which all partners want to come to a common point for the greater interest of human beings. In dialogue, each partner listens to the others as sincerely, sympathetically, and respectfully as possible in order to understand others' views. Dear dignified audience, now let us turn to interfaith dialogue. Here we should keep in mind that interfaith dialogue is not simply a series of conversation. Rather, it is the whole way of thinking, seeing, feeling, and reflecting on religious traditions of partners concerned. Interfaith dialogue neither means analysis of analysis, nor does it mean synthesis of analysis. Through these dialogues, we have to maintain unity without anonymity and diversity without divisions. Really, such dialogue inspires us to be united in spite of we have many diversities to one another. Therefore, the slogan of the dialogue must be unity in diversity or diversity in unity. We should always bear the idea in our mind that the aim of interfaith dialogue is mutual understanding about different religions for a very positive and common point, that is, the common ethical purpose of all religions in which the betterment of human beings are ensured. The aim of interfaith dialogue is not winning over the other or to come to a total agreement or a universal religion. Rather, it aims at bridging the gulfs of mutual ignorance and misunderstanding among different religions of the world. It is not a unity or a reduction of all the pluralistic variety of a man into one single religion. The purpose of the dialogue is not to settle abstract philosophical questions about God or metaphysical issues. Rather, it is to show the kinds of considerations which are relevant in religious discussions and to make an honest effort to see every religion at its best. Dear audience, interfaith dialogue is not an end in itself, but can result in interfaith cooperation at many levels. These dialogues are necessary and helpful in creating an atmosphere for better understanding among the followers of different religions. Interfaith dialogue is necessary for revision, development, refinement, and correct interpretation of different religions. We must know others in order to know who and what we are. To know others is a necessary condition to know ourselves and vice versa. Dear ladies and gentlemen, to make interfaith dialogue meaningful and effective, there are many pertinent rules for each and every participant in the dialogue. Some of these are as follows. First, in dialogue, one must be ready to learn from partners. Through learning, the participants will change and grow in the perception and understanding of reality and then work accordingly. Number two, dialogue can't be one-sided. It has to be both-sided. It is essential that all the participants enter into dialogue not only with their own partners, but also with their co-religionists. Number three, each participant must come to the dialogue with complete sincerity and honesty. If the participants come with certain ulterior motives, the purpose of the dialogue will be violated. In other words, lack of sincerity will prevent dialogue from happening. Number four, participants must come with open mind. All the partners must listen to one another with total openness and sympathy. Number five, dialogue must take place only between and among equals. Participants must come to learn from one another. If we learn only from one, that will be monologue, not dialogue. For example, there can't be any meaningful dialogue between a learned scholar and an informed person. Number six, dialogue should take place only on the basis of mutual respect and trust. Each partner must remember that if there is no trust, there is no dialogue. It is fundamentally true that dialogue can be effective if the participants have mutual respect and trust to one another. Number seven, participants must be ready to be self-critical and self-genuine criticisms from others. Participants in an ideal interreligious dialogue should stand within a religious tradition with integrity and conviction, but their integrity and conviction should include healthy self-criticism. Dear presents, there are some other important preconditions for interfaith dialogue to be more effective and fruitful. Number one, we should not make any hasty value judgments on our own religions as well as on other religions. Number two, we should not make any hasty distinction or indulge in any kind of oversimplification and generalization. Number three, we should recognize both differences and similarities. Number four, we must practice what we preach and we must preach what we practice. For the blind can't lead the blind and the lame can't help others walk. Number five, we must come to focus on very common thing of all religions, that is the ethical purpose of religions for the betterment of all human beings. Number 6, we must avoid the philosophical and theological disputes of religions. If we take these disputes, we can't go ahead and the dialogue will be no more therein. Number 7, we should entertain the same amount of respect for all faiths. Number 8, we should be committed to dialogues even in agreeing to disagree on some points. Ladies and gentlemen, now I am in final stage. In conclusion, we want to say that when such rules and preconditions mentioned above are acceptable and practicable to all participants of the dialogue, the interfaith dialogue will surely be meaningful and fruitful for interreligious peace and harmony. Thanks a lot for your patient hearing to me. God bless you as you bless me for hearing this session. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sayem. You reminded us of many pertinent points, and some of which I will just recap. You said that a dialogue is not a debate where one person listens to the other. Rather, it should create an atmosphere for both understanding of different religions, and we should also get to know one another is a necessary condition for knowing ourselves. We must also come to the dialogue with complete sincerity, honesty, and open-mindedness. And you said if there is no